going bonkers, TikTok diets are all the rage. And why are the seats so damn small on the airplane? Because it's hard to be a person with a body these days.
You're listening to Burnt Toast. I'm Virginia Soul-Smith.
And I'm Corinne Fay.
Today we are rerunning a fan favorite, our episode about motivational speaker and author Mel Robbins. When we first ran this episode, it was behind a paywall, but today we are releasing it for free so that everyone can hear it.
So the big question that we were talking about in that episode was, is Mel Robbins a diet? We talked about her book, The Let Them Theory, and we have an update because now Mel Robbins is selling science-backed, doctor-endorsed protein
Pure genius.
Protein drinks?
Protein shots.
Protein shots, yes.
So, paid subscribers, Corinne has the Pure Genius protein from Mel Robbins. Stick around because at the end of this episode, we have a special segment just for the paid folks where Corinne is going to drink that in real time and give us her honest review. I personally cannot wait. I'm so excited for this.
I am not promising to drink the whole thing, but I will try it.
I wouldn't even order it, so you really get the gold star. Okay, here is Mel Robbins, and paid folks, we will see you in a little bit.
Today, we are talking about motivational speaker and author Mel Robbins, and we have maybe some surprising opinions on this topic.
We do, possibly some different takes about Mel Robbins. Some evolving takes as well. In the course of researching this episode, I think we went on a little Mel Robbins journey, so I'm excited.
Me too. I'm going to introduce this topic by saying that I first heard about Mel Robbins a few weeks ago. My coach at the gym was like, "Have you heard of Mel Robbins?" And I was like, sounds familiar. Like, what is that?
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, I just listened to her on this podcast and I saw she was on Glennon Doyle and I was just like wondering if you knew who she was. And I didn't know who she was, but I was like, oh, but I'll listen to her Glennon Doyle episode. I listened to it and I liked it. I found it interesting and kind of helpful. And then just a few days later, you messaged me and you were like, should we talk about this person on the podcast?
Yes, because I had no idea who she was, which we should be clear, this is someone with like 22 million followers on Instagram. Like us not knowing her was an oversight. She's an enormous celebrity, but I had somehow missed her completely. But Amy texted me one of her reels and was like, this feels like a Burnt Toast episode waiting to happen. And I sent it to you.
And I was kind of like, no.
You were like, she's not a diet. I like her. It's fine.
I enjoyed her episode on Glennon Doyle. And I was just kind of like, she's like a run-of-the-mill self-helpy person. Just to give a little background, she's been a self-help person for a long time. One of her first biggest things was like she did one of the early TEDx talks that went like insanely viral.
Yeah, in about 2011 or 2012.
And she had this book called The 5-Second Rule. The concept is basically like, if you're thinking about doing something, count down to 5 and then do it. Which I'm like, how is that helpful? But okay. A lot of people found it extremely helpful.
Is it that it's supposed to make you like be quicker to do a thing you don't want to do or make you pause before doing a thing you should not do?
No, I think it's like you kind of like preventing you from like overthinking / talking yourself out of something.
Oh, I mean, I guess that's not my struggle, but I can see for people for whom that is a struggle. Having somebody push you off the diving board is, I mean, as someone who would never jump off a diving board, I would need to be pushed. So yeah, all right.
Yeah.
I get it.
She also has a podcast.
The Wall Street Journal calls her a billion-view podcaster, and Time Magazine says she gives millions of listeners around the globe a reason to believe in themselves.
Yes, she's very, very, very popular.
Very popular. I also want to note that she is someone who is writing books about how to change your habits, how to overcome like emotional hurdles. She is not a psychologist. She is not a social worker. She is not a therapist of any kind. She is a former attorney who first became famous because she started doing legal analysis on CNN. She covered the George Zimmerman trial for them. And then that led to actually her first book in 2011, which was called Stop Saying You're Fine, Discover a More Powerful You. So this like high-powered lawyer backstory to self-help guru is an interesting path.
So I did get her book to, research for this episode.
Wait,
and
you got the newest book? Or
I have her newest book.
What's that one called?
The Let Them Theory.
Okay.
But I want to talk about that later. But the beginning of the book, she kind of goes over her story. And to be honest, sitting here right now, can't remember the details.
You were so moved and entranced.
She has a struggle. Like, it's like either she or her husband got laid off. Like, they're having a hard time. And then she's like depressed. And that's where the 5-second rule comes from. You're saying like, oh, she's this high-powered lawyer who goes into self-help. But her story is like, I was struggling. I came up with this theory.
Okay, I also just want to note that not to take away from her truth about herself, but Wikipedia also taught me that she and her husband own homes in 3 locations.
Yeah, I mean, she's very wealthy right now.
So I'm just holding together her personal struggle overcoming how hard things were. And she is a former attorney turned self-help guru who owns 3 homes. So we can just hold those things together.
Her struggle was 15 years ago.
Different time. Only maybe 1 home, 1.5 homes tops at that point.
So do you want to talk kind of about her Instagram reels and the diet culture of it all?
Yes. So my assignment for this episode was Mel Robbins' social media, which I spent some time on and am still recovering from a little bit. Her whole aesthetic on Instagram, like, how every influencer has like how are they doing, like their branding. And hers is very like talk to camera, intense little pep talk videos, or it's like excerpts from the podcast. And she always starts the like intense pep talks with like, hey, it's your buddy Mel. That's her little like, hey, it's your buddy Mel. So this is our buddy Mel we're going to talk about. And they're a real mix. Like some of them are the 5-second rule. Sometimes it's like stuff about letting go of your expectations for other people. There was one reel I really liked where she's just saying like, if you're going through a really hard time, like you have a terrible ex or you are surviving some kind of trauma and you're feeling overwhelmed and stressed out, like that is actually what you should be doing. That's not you failing. That's you having a logical reaction to a hard thing. And I was like, yes, okay, I'm on board. That seems right. It is important that it's okay for us to be sad when things are sad and angry when things are unfair, especially given the current state of the world. That vibe I'm here for. So can you click on the one I called Water Before Coffee?
Yes.
Okay, so in this reel, she talks about how important it is to drink a glass of water in the morning before you drink your coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this is a former attorney turned life guru.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not clear why. Like, why is Mel Robbins the expert for me on water before coffee?
I mean, I don't know, but I am kind of like, does seem like a good idea.
I'm not saying it's not a good idea. I'm just saying, why is she like
I mean, she's just famous now. Like, she gets to give advice on anything she wants.
She starts talking about like hormones and like it gets very sciencey, but like there's no citations. There's not even like a nutritionist sitting next to her. Maybe this is from a podcast interview she did with a nutritionist. I don't know. But like there's no sourcing. She has this very emphatic way of speaking. And she's like, this is the thing you need to do. And I just watched this and I was like, oh, so she's a Huberman bro. Like this is Huberman husband stuff, right?
I mean, it's self-help. Like she's telling you what to do.
Mel Robbins would love to tell us all what to do.
In the intro to her book where she's kind of talking about like how she got into writing these books, I feel like she refers to having done like PhD levels of research.
But like on what? Because the science about hydration and coffee intake is very different from the research on how we move through big feelings during trauma. Like, these are not related concepts, Corinne.
No.
So she's doing PhD level research on everything?
Yes.
Okay.
She's a PhD on giving advice. Let's look at her morning routine.
Do you want to talk us through the morning routine post?
Yes. So the morning routine that'll supercharge your energy all day
Backed by science. That's what she says.
starts with getting up when the alarm goes off. Once again, it's not bad advice. Like, I'm like, yeah. But also, is Mel Robbins telling you to do it going to make you do it? I don't know.
And like, sometimes you're just not going to do that and you might still have an
Yeah.
okay day. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't mean the whole day fell apart because you didn't get up the second your alarm went off.
The next thing, making your bed tidy in your space. Another very common self-help tip.
It's the simplest way to practice discipline, Corinne. A promise kept no matter what.
I'm going to be honest, I feel okay with the first two.
Okay.
Number 3, high five yourself in the mirror. Like, no, I'm never going to do that. I hate that. I really hate it.
I can't stop laughing. She's so serious in the photo. She has a selfie of her high-fiving herself, and she's like so serious in the photo. Like she is earnestly high-fiving herself.
And let me tell you, giving yourself a high five in the mirror, quote, rewires your brain to focus on self-love and positive reinforcement.
The science behind that is all in her book, The High Five Habit. So there you go. The PhD level science that she's done to confirm this. I just imagine like saying to someone actually struggling with depression or anxiety, like, why don't you just high five yourself in the mirror? And like, I think they would be justified in throat punching you. Like, I'm sorry, your mom just died. Have you tried high fiving yourself in the mirror? Like, fuck you.
This is the thing, right? Like, this is what we talk about. It's like exercising does make us feel better, but you can't tell someone struggling, just exercise.
Right.
You know, like, this advice is good. Get out of bed, have a glass of water, exercise. And like, no one needs that advice. Like, everyone knows that.
And high-fiving yourself in the mirror, I'm going to say is not good advice. Like, I'm going to say for most of us, that's not going to be transformative in any way. It's just going to be dumb. So that one.
That's fair.
Yeah, okay. Then we get to the hydration stuff again. Delay your caffeine 1 to 2 hours. And then here we are, Andrew Huberman again, taking the morning light.
Yeah.
Get outside ASAP. So I currently have to wake up at 5 o'clock to get my middle schooler on the bus, and it is dark for the next 2 hours. So I would be going outside in the dark. I do take in the morning light when I then drag an exhausted 11-year-old out to the bus stop every morning.
Yeah. Well, that counts.
That counts. Okay. I got a gold star.
Yeah. So she definitely has a self-helpy thing going on.
Yes. Okay. Then the next reel I want you to look at is the one that references intermittent fasting. So in this one, she says, if you're going through a divorce, if you're feeling kind of lost in life, if you have no clue what you want to do, here's a tip from your friend Mel Robbins. Just do something really, really hard, as well as doing the really hard thing you're going through. So she did 5 days of intensive intermittent fasting for her gut health. I'm using air quotes. And that is how she got through some hard time.
Yeah. I mean, her other suggestion is training for a marathon. I sort of see, like, there's a kernel of something here. I can't imagine actually giving someone this advice.
Having gone through a divorce in recent memory, we can use me as an example. I felt like during those months, I was doing pretty good to like keep the ball moving on my divorce, like keep parenting my children as best I could, keep my business afloat. I did not need to be intermittent fasting on top of any of that. I didn't. I was doing a lot. It was hard. I was doing all these hard things. I felt like I had enough. I don't think training for a marathon would have done fucking anything for me. I just truly don't. And like, the hard thing was enough. I don't know. I never want to demonize coping strategies. And so if someone's like, no, training for my marathon did help me through my divorce, like, amazing. But it feels like choosing a coping strategy that will like give you a big block of time that's filled with something else to distract you. And I just think if it wasn't diet or exercise related, like if it was like, I'm binge drinking every Saturday night as my coping strategy. Also fills a lot of time, also distracts you, takes your mind off your problems. But then suddenly we have a totally different narrative around it, you know? So it's like the combining of like we're going to give you this big all-consuming thing, and we're going to make it something that we attach a lot of moral virtue and like social performance to. And that somehow is going to be why it's going to be helpful.
Yes. The things she's suggesting are committing to dry January, fitness goals, building better money habits.
Yeah. All good, but they're all in and of themselves like hard, complicated projects. And do you need to do them while in some other crisis?
No, I don't think you do.
Yeah. So this is why I'm saying, yes, Mel Robbins is a diet. There's just this like, make it as hard as possible, push yourself to do more. Everything sounds like a simple, easy tip, but she wants you to do 900 of them.
Totally.
That's what I'm pushing back against. And then, I mean, there were a couple other reels. We don't need to take them one by one, but she's done podcast episodes on how to boost your metabolism for weight loss.
Yeah.
She's done podcast episodes about working out for menopause, where they're just like, you want to be strong, not skinny. But everyone talking in that conversation is extremely skinny.
Okay. Now I want to talk a little bit about her book. Probably the reason we both have just come across her is because she has a new book out.
Mm-hmm.
The book is called The Let Them Theory. And this is what she was talking about on We Can Do Hard Things.
Okay.
So this is what I listened to a podcast episode about and was like, sure, I like it. The Let Them Theory is basically letting other people do what they want to do. So it's like, instead of making yourself miserable, trying to control what other people are doing, let them. The story that she gives at the beginning to like set this all up is like, her kid was going to prom and like they went to go take prom pictures with a big group of kids before the event, and it started pouring rain. And then it turns out her son didn't have a restaurant reservation for like where to eat with his 20 friends before prom. And he decided he wanted to go to like an outdoor taco restaurant. And she was just like, like everyone's going to get soaking wet. It's going to be horrible, blah, blah, blah. And then her daughter was just like, Mom, let them. Like, if they want to get soaking wet, eat. And like, I do think that's helpful. I also think there's a way in which like that is anti-diet, you know, like let people eat what they want to eat. Let your kids eat brownies before dinner, like whatever.
I also want to know more about her. I mean, not to get too personal, Mel, with my buddy Mel, but you were really going to like control your child's prom experience that much? Like they're 17 years old and you're like weighing in on where they need to go for dinner. Like it's their prom night.
It's like an anxiety thing, you know, it's like, oh my God, my 20 kids are going to walk into a restaurant without a reservation. I think we all have those type of spirals where it's like other people are doing things in a way that bothers me. And instead of like getting worked up about it, I'm just going to let it go.
I mean, I fully subscribe to this. I wrote an essay maybe 2 years ago about working on my own control issues and then realizing control is not love. And like, yes, this resonates very deeply with me. Is something that I am a perpetual work in progress on. And I feel like I'm having a really hard time squaring this release people, stop trying to change people, don't control other people with have a 12-step morning routine. She's like, I can't control other people, but here's what I can control.
And how does the let them theory square with giving anyone else advice, really?
Also that.
So that is something that I've been thinking about just as we've been talking. The other things I wanted to mention are the book definitely mentions weight loss. She uses it as an example of if someone's wanting to lose weight or something, but they're not eating in a way that's like let them. Let other people's problems be other people's problems.
Right.
But like just noting it as this is not a person who's necessarily versed in body liberation.
She has clearly done no work interrogating the idea that you maybe don't need to lose weight. She's willing to just take that as a foregone conclusion, which is common to this kind of self-help person.
One thing that I found myself grading up against was she has a few kids. She has 2 daughters, and I guess they have like really different bodies. And she talks about her older daughter's feelings about her younger daughter's body. And I have no idea how old the daughter is. I think the daughter's an adult or close to being adult, but I was just like, I really don't like this.
Yeah, did you have to go there? I mean, even if they consented, like, why are you using your kid's story and your kid's body in that way?
And as you said, there are episodes about weight loss, how to boost your metabolism.
Yeah.
Eat these 5 things or whatever.
And she brings on, quote, experts for all of those episodes, but this is a former attorney. I'm just like, what is your vetting process for these guests? Like, how are you deciding? What criteria are you using? All of that is very unclear.
And so then the last thing that I want to mention
Mhm.
is that this morning, as I was getting ready to record this episode, getting ready for my day, doing my morning routine.
You're high-fiving yourself.
Yes. As I was not high-fiving myself in the mirror,
You're
I
a
was
high
like,
10. You do both hands.
yes. I was like, oh, I'm going to re-listen to the Glennon Doyle episode just so I can like remember some of the things that Mel Robbins was saying on that podcast episode, which I enjoyed. So I opened my podcast player. I went to my We Can Do Hard Things feed and the episode was gone. And I was like, oh, this must be some phone glitch. I checked every podcast app. I texted a friend, also gone in their feed. I texted you. You also couldn't find it.
Yep.
So then I start Googling and there's a Reddit thread about this podcast episode disappearing. And someone links to a Substack post where a person is accusing Mel Robbins of plagiarism.
Oh my God.
This other person named Cassie Phillips had written a poem that basically has the words and the concept, let them and let me, which is like the basis of the book. And I guess that poem went really viral in 2022. And then Mel Robbins came up with the let them theory in 2023. So very close timelines.
Oh.
And yeah, I mean, I did read the Substack post. I feel like it's one of those kind of like one person says, the other person says situations. Like, I don't know if you could ever prove that Mel Robbins heard it from the poem. And in fact, Mel Robbins says that she heard it from her daughter. So I don't know what the truth is. And then the other thing I just wanted to mention, and this is something I had been thinking about, is that this idea of like, let them and like not trying to control other people, that's also just not Mel Robbins' idea. A lot of different like cultures use that. I know a lot of people in Al-Anon who have like embraced that, as a way of just being like, you can't control other people's drinking kind of thing.
Yes.
So just want to acknowledge that like, it's not an original idea. It's possibly plagiarized. We don't know.
We cannot know about the plagiarism, but those are valid questions to be raising given the timeline.
Yeah.
But even if that was not a contributing factor, she definitely took this very well-established concept. Again, like I wrote an essay 2 years ago about my own work in therapy on this idea. It's out there. And it's not that she can't write about it. I wrote about it. But to then turn it into the Mel Robbins secret method of fixing your life, which is very much how the book is marketed and how her Instagram is marketed. It's very much like only Mel Robbins can tell you this like hard truth.
Yeah.
That is a real neat trick and I think speaks much more to her ability to build a brand and build an audience than it does to her actually being a wise and research-based expert on personal growth. That's not necessarily what she is, but she is a pretty genius marketer and like packager of an idea. And I'm just really struggling to square it with the rest of her messaging. It doesn't actually feel very consistent. Like, let them, I understand it's more about other people, but you count to 5 and throw yourself out of bed the second the alarm goes off. Like, what? It just doesn't feel internally consistent to me at all.
Well, yeah, to me, it's just like, also, if you're just going to let them, then like, why are you giving people advice?
Yeah.
Why are you trying to control how people get out of bed?
Yeah, and whether they drink coffee or water first. Like, it's not just that she's giving advice. She gives really specific, granular advice about how to structure your day. She wanted to control whether her son took his friends to a taco place or not on prom night. Like, she's real interested in people doing like very tiny things according to her specifications. So it kind of feels like maybe she got really into this idea because she knows it's her own biggest struggle, which is totally fair. But there's like a lack of introspection to then like peel back a few more layers and be like, well, where am I not letting them? I'm not letting people do a lot of things. I think that another thing that feels slightly like a disconnect to me with the let them and this like let people go thing is when you look at how Mel Robbins is presenting herself. It's a very specific aesthetic. She is definitely someone who, she talks about working out a lot, intermittent fasting, all of that. Her body is presenting as a highly controlled body. She's very thin. She's very blonde. That is not a natural blonde. That's her body, her choice, of course. But again, it's this interesting tension between this message that is very expansive and trying to give you room to take up space in your life, and then what she's presenting to us in her embodied self feels very different to me. And again, this is not a criticism because it's also like one of those things where like, what other option does she have? She got famous as a CNN commentator. She's now a big deal on Instagram. Like thinness, blondness, whiteness, all of that is required for those jobs. So it's just interesting seeing that like someone else with this message who is not a tiny blonde woman would probably not be able to kind of like blow it up to the level that she is.
Yeah. And I also think like she is older. I think she's in her 50s. So I think
she's got to play the game.
This is how people are going to pay attention to her.
Yeah. Well, that's Mel Robbins. We learned a lot. We now know who she is and also quite a lot about her. I'm interested to hear from listeners who have been following her. You may have more thoughts on the whole plagiarism piece or the missing Glennon episode piece, or just have more nuanced takes on her work. So I'm excited to hear what people think.
Do we want to definitively say, is Mel Robbins a diet?
I'm comfortable definitively saying it. You, I feel, have been on more of a journey. I don't know if you're ready to say it.
Yeah, I don't know if I would say that Mel Robbins is a diet. I do think she's a whole thing.
She's a whole thing.
I think she's like a perfectionism culture, maybe.
She is high-fiving herself in the mirror so hard.
Is high-fiving yourself in the mirror a diet?
It's not a diet is where I'm going to land on that.
Wow, okay. I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that, but there's a lot to think about.
There is a lot to think about. Okay, let's do better because my better is going to possibly undermine my credibility for this entire episode.
Is your butter drinking a cup of water before you drink your cup of coffee?
I am not doing that, but my butter is my new hydration tracking app that I'm using.
Are you freaking kidding me?
I knew this was gonna, yeah.
A hydration tracking app?
Yes.
OMG.
It's called Water Llama. It's adorable. Okay. Every day there's a different animal. Hang on, I'll pull it up for you so you can see. See, like today I'm tracking on this little bunny. And then it shows how the water fills up on the little illustration. So I've like drunk 2/3 of a bunny according to my goal. Okay, so I am not doing this as a diet. This is not a weight loss goal. It's nothing to do with that. I have so many migraines. My migraines have been getting worse in the last couple months. I was looking back at how often they are happening. They've really increased. I live in a frozen tundra. My house is so dry. I'm waking up every morning with like headaches and sore throats. I have a humidifier. But I realized like I really think I need to work on hydration. I'm also going to get a workup with my neurologist, but the appointment's like 3 months out. So I was like, this is something I can work on in the meantime and see if it makes a difference. And I have tried to just be like mindful about water consumption in the past, and I will forget all about it. Like I hyper-focus on work all day long and drink nothing, and then it's like 8 o'clock and I'm very thirsty. So I was like, all right, I'm going to do this water tracking app, and I'm a week into it. And I've drunk so much water in the last week.
Does it give you reminders?
Yes. So you can set it to remind you like every 1 or 2 hours if you want. So it nudges you. I haven't even really needed the reminders because so far I'm just like excited to fill in my little numbers. I will say I put in a custom goal that I made up. I'm not going to say what my goal is because I think it's somewhat absurd, honestly. I'm really just trying to drink as much as possible until I don't wake up with a headache and then use that number as the target and see if it helps. So I deliberately put in a custom goal because otherwise they calculated it based on your weight. So if you don't want to mess around with that, you can just put in your own goal. There also are there's like a weight loss challenge thing you could do, but there is an option to hide that. And I did that right away. So I don't have to look at any weight loss content. So, it's with a caveat. Like tracking is not for everybody. Tracking is usually not for me. If this doesn't feel good for you, please don't do it. But if you are thirsty and need to drink more water, I don't know. I'm liking it.
Cool.
Do you feel like I'm such a hypocrite right now?
I don't know if I would say hypocrite. I don't know. The tracking thing is interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like when tracking is triggering versus when it's not.
I think because I have a very specific metric, which is no headaches.
Yeah.
Like I'm doing this for a very niche reason. It feels okay. And that's what I can come up with. But I'm also paying attention to it. And I feel like if it starts becoming stressful, like I'm putting some parameters around it where I'm like, okay, then we delete the app. But Water Llama, it's pretty cute.
Well, I hope Water Llama helps your migraines.
Yeah, we'll see. TBD. What about you?
I want to recommend a book that I just read. It's called The Safe Keep. I don't want to say too much about it because I went into it knowing almost nothing and was shocked at various points.
Ooh. By Yael van der Woden?
Yes.
Probably saying that wrong. Sorry, but okay.
Yes, I think she's Dutch.
Yeah.
What will I say about it?
I can read the summary line, which is an exhilarating, twisted tale of desire, suspicion, and obsession between two women staying in the same house in the Dutch countryside during the summer of 1961.
Okay. Yeah, that seems like a good summary.
I mean, I want to read it. That sounds really good.
Yeah, it takes like a few different kind of like turns and I think has like a surprising ending that kind of seems like it wouldn't work and it kind of did work for me. So, yeah, and I would say like I also just did not expect it to be as spicy as it was.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I recommend The Safe Keep. And I would say don't read too much about it before you read it.
Yeah, just dive in. Okay.
Perhaps. Yeah.
That's a great better. All right. Well, should we high five on the Zoom to wrap up this episode? Because our buddy Mel would want us to, Corinne.
I need some science behind why high fiving.
Well, you can read her whole book called The High Five Habit and just start high fiving everybody all the time.
No.
All right, Corinne, something you have received in the mail recently is an integral part of why we are rerunning this episode. Do our little show and tell for us, please.
When we were talking about doing a rerun of this episode, we did a little check-in on Mel Robbins on Instagram and discovered that she is selling a product now. It is called Pure Genius. It is a protein shot.
If you're not watching the video clips, it's a tiny red bottle.
It's a tiny red bottle.
We are in no way advertising it. We don't want anyone.
The bottle is a little bit cute. I did pay for this.
Right. This is not
and you can only
SponCon.
order 12, so now I have 12.
What are you going to do with 12? I'm so sorry we couldn't buy just one.
Bring them to my gym. Unless they're really good and I love them.
I mean, that could happen. Open hearts, open minds.
Yes. Okay, well, here we go. I'm going to open this little tab.
I can't wait. I'm so excited. Okay, Free List, if you want to hear Corinne trying Mel Robbins' new Pure Genius protein shots and giving us her real-time review, you need to go to burnttoastpodcast.com and become a paid subscriber right now. I promise you are not going to want to miss that. If you would like to support the show, please make sure you're following us in your podcast player. Scroll down wherever you're listening, tap the stars, 5 of them please, and leave us a review. That really helps us grow and helps new listeners find conversations like these.
The Burnt Toast podcast is hosted by Virginia Soulsmith and Corinne Fay. You can follow Virginia on Instagram and Threads at _Soulsmith and on Blue Sky at Virginia Soulsmith. You can follow Corinne on Instagram at SelfieFay, on Blue Sky at Corinne Fay, and on Patreon at Big Undies. This podcast is produced by Kim Baldwin. You can follow Kim at The Blonde Mule on all platforms and subscribe to her newsletter at theblondemule.com.
The Burnt Toast logo is by Deanna Lowe. Our theme music is by Faraday. Our video editor is Elizabeth Ayiku, who also runs the Me Little Me Foundation, a virtual food pantry supporting multiply marginalized folks recovering from eating disorders. Learn more and donate at melittlemefoundation.org. And Tommy Heron is our audio engineer. Thanks for listening and supporting anti-diet, body liberation journalism.